Stopover Lodgings Incorporated is located in Sydney, Australia. It was formed in 2008 as its successor corporation to Amalgamated Motel Enterprises. Stopover Lodgings Incorporated was formed to own, operate and license a chain of motels under the name Stopover Lodgings due to complicated and restricted contract covenants associated with Amalgamated. Stopover Lodgings Incorporated operates in a single industry. Their corporate strategy is to cater to those business travellers who are generally not interested in elaborate settings by focusing on clean rooms, dependable service and charging 50 to 20% lower rates than competitors. Stopover Lodgings are able to achieve on average a 10 to 20% higher occupancy rate than competitors due to the strategic placements of motels near main highways, airports and shopping facilities. Their targeted market segment of business travellers being unaffected by seasonal factors and believing it is better to place 6 100-room motels around the city rather than one 600-room motel in one single area. Stopover Lodgings is a strategic business unit within Stopover Lodgings Incorporated. We have identified Stopover Lodgings to be an analyzer, as the Regional General Manager, Kevin Gray, is empowered to make decisions and has the ability to offer financial and non-financial order-winning criteria regarding Stopover Lodgings, such as low cost and high quality. Miles and Snows state in Chapter 7 of Ralph Adler's Strategic Performance Management Accounting for Organizational Control textbook that analyzers are neither seeking change nor unwilling to change and take on a highly calculated approach to the decision-making process indicated by their slow 7-year development of a comprehensive marketing plan. Their focus is on prospectus innovation, which is to operate 6 smaller motels in one location near highways and airports, as opposed to one large motel, while simultaneously combined with Defender's efficiency in the form of standardized construction costs and cost-effective layouts and amenities. They explore existing markets and new markets that may arise in the future. They deliver products by maintaining efficiency while displaying agility to adapt to new markets and opportunities that arise in the demographic of business travellers British way. They are structured in a matrix approach. Intergroup communication and collaboration is encouraged to cope with the dual focus of efficiency and innovation. Stopover Lodgings has a centralised organisational structure where the decisions are made by the Regional General Manager. Due to the size and nature of the business, it displays highly complex vertical differentiation structure and is highly formalised, where all decisions are provided from the General Manager, such as standardised construction processes, decisions regarding expansion and what services to provide. 2 Stopover Lodge motels were introduced to us in the case. We've got Perth Airport Stopover Lodge, which is managed by Lane Rembert, and Central Perth Stopover Lodge, managed by Kim Kaider. With Perth Airport being our main concern, as the motel's manager has concerns over the proposed expansion and how it will affect their compensation package. Perth Airport Stopover Lodge opened in 2011 and is one of the medium-sized units in the chain, located 5 kilometres from the airport. Since 2011, the occupancy rate has steadily increased, and by 2018, it was operating at near full capacity for 5 nights a week, charging an average room rate of $118.25. 80% of its revenue is generated by salesmen and commercial travellers. There are 4 other major competitors operating within a 5-kilometre radius of Perth Airport Stopover Lodge. Due to Stopover Lodge's reputation of high quality and low cost, they remain unaffected. As Perth Airport Stopover Lodge is operating at near full capacity, Kevin believes that an expansion of 40 rooms is sufficient, as the lodge is expected to grow in the future. Stopover lodgings are typically built in one of 3 sizes: 76 rooms, 116 rooms and 156 rooms. A 3-tiered attack was created for the expansion strategy, involving active pursuing of construction of new motels in the area. 76 rooms and 116-room motels are expanded if they are operating at near or full capacity. And lastly, if old motels were too costly to run or did not generate the required rate of return, they were sold. We believe the problem in this case is a lack the motel managers and the expansion strategy of Stopover Lodgings Incorporated. This has led to a form of agency issue between the parties due to poor design of the compensation scheme that does not align with the company's goals. Managers are therefore not on board with the expansion desires of Stopover Lodgings. We'll now hear from our three different analysts, Jayden, Cory and Tom, to discuss the problem of managers not being on board with expansion.
Thanks, Kat. Alright, so for the first alternative, we'd like to alter motel managers' compensation, particularly incentives. In our first alternative, we alter the compensation plan for motel managers. The current plan comprises 4 parts: a base salary, an incentive bonus, another incentive bonus, and fringe benefits. The base salary is, and I quote, loosely tied to years of service, dollar volume of sales, and adherence to corporate goals. The first incentive bonus is calculated using increases in sales volume, and the second incentive bonus is calculated using a return on investment calculation. Lastly, fringe benefits include a 2-bedroom apartment on the premises, a company car for sales calls, laundry service, and free power and utilities. Lane Rembert, manager of the Perth Airport Stopover Lodge, is concerned about the proposed 40-room expansion affecting his compensation incentive. He spoke to Kim Kaida, manager of the Central Perth Stopover Lodge, and was told that she's certain the 40-room expansion had lowered her return on investment. The proposed expansion at the Perth Airport Stopover Lodge would see the denominator of its return on investment calculation climb from $10.6 to $14.4 million, a 36% increase. Now, if the numerator, earnings before interest and tax, does not increase enough to offset the change in investment, the return on investment will decrease, resulting in a decrease in Lane's incentive compensation. Stopover Lodgings has a clear expansion strategy, stating that any 76 or 116 room motels operating near or at full capacity should be expanded by 40 rooms. Lane's motel has 116 rooms and is operating near or at full capacity Monday through Friday, which makes it an obvious choice for expansion. The expansion is not the problem for Lane, however. It is the effect it will have on his incentives with the current compensation plan. The lack of goal congruence between corporate managers and motel managers is likely to be felt beyond Lane's motel and may stem from inappropriate performance measurement systems. As motel managers do not have authority to make investment decisions, return on investment as a performance measure is not ideal. The compensation plan needs to be revised so that motel managers are enthused by expansion. Stopover Lodgings should assess Lane on criteria in which he has some control. For example, customer and employee satisfaction, profit margins, and customer retention. That's it for option 1 so far. Now we'll hand it off to Tom for option 2.
Thank you, Jayden. I'll now discuss my opinion on how we're going to solve this problem. Lane Rembert has expressed concerns over the decision to expand his lodge, as he believes it will negatively affect his compensation through a lower return on investment measure. This clearly shows that Lane does not understand how the expansion will affect the wider business that is Stopover Holdings Incorporated. If Lane was to become more educated, he would understand how the expansion would gain far more revenue for the holding company, and he would not have an issue like he currently does. To solve this issue, we believe management needs to create a stronger collaborative business culture that makes the unit managers feel like they're contributing to the bigger picture and not just worrying about their specific motel that they are running. An improved culture across the firm will help the managers gain perspective and adhere more to the company's goals. To create a better culture, we suggest training up the managers when they're initially hired to educate them on how each motel contributes to the overall well-being of the firm. Similarly, we could have biannual manager conferences to encourage cooperation between motels. This will make the managers feel a part of the bigger picture and subconsciously influence them to want to make a difference to the business as a whole, not just their motel specifically. I believe this will help managers to adhere better to corporate goals and encourage more goal congruence within the company. We will now hear from Cory with his alternative to solve this issue.
Hi, my name's Cory. Cheers for that, Tom. My option is to change the Assessment Responsibility Centre, the structure of the company. As mentioned previously, the award-winning criteria Stopover Lodge is to provide cheap and clean accommodation for travellers not particularly interested in elaborate settings. By pursuing this award-winning criteria, the lodge units are essentially being operated as profit centres. Managers have control and aim to keep costs low to maintain superior profit margins. Having such low costs has allowed managers to be able to offer rates for their service 15 to 20% cheaper than competitors, which helps not only acquire new customers but retain a loyal customer base. However, it seems strange to then evaluate these business units on their ability to make returns on investment, which would be a metric used for businesses structured to operate as an investment centre, not profit centres. Therefore, I propose that rather than operating as profit centres, we should operate as an investment centre. Instead of trying to maximise profit, they should focus on the ability to make returns on investment. This is a compensation bonus designed by the Stopover Lodgings organisation and therefore must be in line with the company's overall objectives. Structuring as an investment centre will optimise the metric that they're actually being assessed on by senior managers. This way we can basically stick with the status quo on bonus schemes if we just change the structure and we do not change the bonus scheme processes. This will keep Lane and other hotel managers satisfied. To add further value to Lane's compensation, he could ask to open a restaurant, invest in refurbishment, and charge a premium for a perfectly new, clean room. Either of these examples will help increase the return on investment potential for business. By changing the responsibility centre, Lane will feel more fairly assessed and would naturally adhere more to the company's goals and objectives. I'll now pass you on to the interview with Peter, Neville and Kat.
Hi Peter, I'm Katherine from the University of Otago Accounting 302 class. I was wondering if we could just do a quick interview.
Perfect, go ahead.
Cool, so I was just wondering, how long have you operated in the motel industry as a manager?
25 years.
Oh, that's a long time. What is your target customer and how do you differentiate yourself from different competitors in the market?
We don't really have a target customer. We just really look at good customer service like any other motel. We just take anyone that rolls through the door, every demographic, and we try to cater for everyone.
Oh, okay, that's interesting to know. What has been the most prolific changes in the past, say, 5 years in the motel industry in Perth or your own business, given the media's prediction on an unprecedented boom by WA Today's October 2018 article?
I think it's more than just Perth. I think it's nationally across Australia. We're looking at, I think it was, the boom occurred actually a few years ago. Main financing institutions, they lowered the LVR, the loan to value ratio. That opened up cash from financial institutions. Investment opportunities followed naturally, and due to the motel industry, I don't think there's very many regulations preventing competitors from entering. So I think it was basically free for all. Basically, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any specific plans, such as expanding in the future?
Actually, our motel chain, we're not actually expanding. We're actually looking at quite the opposite. Actually, we are consolidating. We're focusing, narrowing everything down, divesting our motels that aren't at the occupancy rates that we're looking at. But we're looking at refurbishing motels, beds in particular. That's a big focus for us. Clean rooms, and we're really just trying to nail down, increase our standards around customer service because that's quite important these days.
As a chain organisation, do you have much control as a manager with the investment decisions?
Interesting to say that actually. There's 3 different types of motel ownership types around motels in Australia. You can be a franchise, managed, or leased. So a franchise hotel, which we are not, but franchise hotel where the owner actually owns the motel outright, and they usually have, the managers there have 95 to 99% of the expansion decisions around there. We are Country Comfort. Perth is a managed hotel, so we're actually owned by a management agency, and I'm a contractor through that agency. So they send me out here. I've been out here for a while now, and I have decisions, but they basically come from the top down from that company. And the other option is lease company, where you pay for the footprint of that motel, you pay a fixed rent, and they decide solely on the investment decisions.
Okay. And my last question, what type of compensation system are the motel managers under? And also, do you have any, such as like cash rewards based on sales volume or compensation through benefits? For example, like a free apartment or power on site?
Well, me personally, we are evaluated under KPIs, key performance indicators. I think most motels around Australia are on the same sort of business. Several KPIs, one being sales volume incentive. That's quite often incremental contributions, and a big one financially is GOP, the bottom line. So if you can retain your gross operating profit, then if you can retain your profitability, then you usually get rewarded quite handsomely with that. Other KPIs that are key, some non-financial ones include occupancy driven, so they're all looking at occupancy rates, staff feedback, not only from customers but also staff on how well you've been trained, how often you see the manager around, adequate working standards, workplace, and massive around customer feedback, and if the negatives outweigh the positives, then things aren't looking too flash, and vice versa.
Oh, cool. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Enjoy
Awesome.
the Counting 302.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kat and Peter, for the insights in the interview. Now, let me divulge into why we'd not like to choose option 2. With option 2, we suggested educating motel managers on the effects their motels have on the performance of Stopover Lodgings as a whole. By helping motel managers to understand how and why decisions are made, such as when to expand, we hoped it would help them to get behind Stopover Lodgings' goals. We would show that return on investment would not necessarily be lower and may in fact be higher, as sales revenue is expected to increase. While we believe it is beneficial for motel managers to have this understanding, it would not solve the main issue, where motel managers are not supporting expansion plans. Motel managers would still have little control over return on investment, which is used to calculate part of their compensation. Educating motel managers may be costly and without much benefit, and hiring motel managers with experience in the industry is unnecessary, as there is no evidence of current motel managers being inefficient. Now I'll let Tom tell you about why we don't want to choose option 3.
Cory, I thought that was a great idea to change from a profit centre to an investment centre, but I have to say I don't quite agree. I believe it would be very unwise to change the motel lodge units from profit centres to investment centres. Stopover Lodging has become very successful by following the order-winning criteria and offering a low-cost, high-quality service to consumers. By changing to an investment centre, the motel would be straying away from their business unit strategy, which has been successful for a very long time now. They are known and trusted by their customers to offer a certain type of product. Changing that now could be detrimental to their future business. It would not be in the manager's best interest to go further against the company's strategy. Similarly, as we learned in the Jelly case, who operated as an investment centre, they allowed plant managers to run their plants, but not allow them to control over their asset investment within these plants, which meant that they had no control over the metric that they were trying to optimise and were being assessed on. Just like Lane is able to manage his motel, but is not able to control the investment into expanding his motel. You cannot expect managers to feel satisfied being asked to manage an investment centre, whether it's a plant or a motel, and not be able to control the investments being put into these businesses. This is because Stopover Lodgings is such a large, centralised and standardised company, it would be a bad idea to give decision-making powers to the managers of the motel or lodges, as this would cripple some of the key features that have made the company so successful, i.e. reduction of construction costs and completion times due to standardisation and efficient quality control of present properties. To further cement this point, we did some external research. According to the report published in 2018 by MarketLine on hotels and motels, you can see that in Australia, 57.9% of people using motels or hotels are using them for business-related purposes. These consumers inject $4.6 billion worth of revenue into the motel industry. This means that when we are already targeting the greatest percentage of consumers, hence we should not change to target a smaller proportion of the population. By remaining as a profit centre, we not only maintain our order-winning criteria, but we also target the large consumer base. So it is in our best interest not to change our focus and become an investment centre.
As the director of the company, I agree with Jayden's option and Tom's option. I think introducing Kaplan and Norton's balanced scorecard approach, which was introduced in Chapter 9 of Ralph Adler's book, is the correct recommendation. This involves a hybrid approach, considers financials, customers, internal business processes, and learning and growth. This will effectively change the system processes lever as well of the organization, while also aligning the employees' goals with the organization's systems and transformation through culture. Return on investment as a metric alone cannot reflect the behavior of managers. As we see, Lane is upset and confused over his compensation. ROI is an incorrect metric to assess managers because the managers cannot control the asset base, similar to the plant managers in the jelly case company, who were being assessed on a return on investment metric but had no empowerment or actual decision-making authority over their asset base. As noted in Chapter 9, the two main shortcomings of the ROI metric are its failure to provide reliable investment signals and its failure to encourage consistent inter-unit project investment. In relation to the former, this is because it does not consider the industry's cost of capital, and managers are only concerned with whether ROI will increase the output. And for the second, there is no consistent benchmark for other units to ensure correct decisions are made, or for our case, to decide if this is the best time to get the best returns from expansions from our motels. Using another performance metric, such as economic value added or residual income, which will account for shareholders' return required and a cost of capital invested in the company, will be better used to evaluate individual motel manager performance. These metrics are naturally better suited for financial evaluation and should take over as the metric of choice for all things related to financial performance segment of the compensation bonus schemes. As well as the financials being compared to historical data internally, it should also be benchmarked with other chains in the region to gain an external viewpoint. This will be accordingly done best with EVA or residual income. However, in saying all of this, the motel managers have no control over investments. The decisions are centralized from regional managers to ensure efficiency, such as reduction of construction costs and completion times due to standardization, and efficient quality control of present properties are obtained. We support this. Therefore, what is in fact more important is for motel managers to adhere to the formal corporate goals and rules outlined by regional managers and the company. After all, it is included in a portion of the base salary. We think it is very important to follow these corporate goals. We think Lane can still earn a competitive compensation scheme if he follows corporate goals to a high level. That being said, we think that the regional manager should have discretion to introduce a bonus based on KPIs such as financial GOP and other non-financial factors such as customer feedback and satisfaction to replace the ROI bonus. Similar to Kevin's 20-point system for personal evaluations. This was also mentioned by Peter Neville from Country Comfort in Perth with his 25 years experience in the Perth market. This was very similar to our case here, and his remuneration is determined along with the sales volumes increments that we already have. This will ensure the motel managers are on the same page looking to expand and retain profits while also ensuring dependable service and customer satisfaction are attained. This also achieves a balanced scorecard approach and considers non-financial order working criteria components when evaluating motel managers' performance. In conclusion, this will help us resolve the main problem, because designing a new performance measurement metric for compensation bonuses addressed by Jayden only solves half the problem. We also need to address the culture issue addressed by Tom. This will help solve our other non-financial order working criteria that is crucial to maintain our competitive advantage in the market, such as competitive customer satisfaction, aggressive management, and dependable service. This needs to remain intact to achieve goal congruency between the managers and Stopover Lodgings to effectively implement the corporate strategy and effectively fit the innovative and efficient analyzer business structure that our organization seeks to implement. Thank you.